Today I'm going to talk a little bit about my writing journey and where I started and where I am now and everything in between. I'll be honest, this isn't going to be a video full of tips and tricks and all kinds of, writing advice. It's just going to be quite personal to me, about where I'm at, a little bit more about who I am. So if you are looking for kind of techniques and stuff, this probably isn't the video for you, and you should check out this one instead. So I haven't planned this, so it will be rambly, but let's see. So my first writing memory was when I was probably about 5 or 6, and the teacher said, "Today, guys, you're all going to be writing a story." And I couldn't believe my luck. It just felt amazing. This isn't work, writing a story. As a kid, certainly one of my favourite things to do was watch TV. So to think that our teacher is now asking us to basically write a story like any of the stories that I would see on TV, I thought that was amazing. And I remember she said, "Right, it's got to be about animals." And I put my hand up and I said, "Miss, can it be about dinosaurs?" And I genuinely think she gave a certain answer, and I genuinely think that if she'd have given a different answer, maybe I wouldn't be here today writing and making writing videos. She said yes. And I think if she'd have said no, I honestly think it would have led me down a different path. But the fact that she said yes, it wasn't what she'd asked us to do. She asked us to write about animals. Dinosaurs, technically, I guess, are animals, but she'd let me bend the rules instantly. And I think I realised straight away, okay, this is like a thing where you can do whatever you want. And that was so exciting. And I wrote loads of stories all through primary school. And I remember one particular comment on one of my stories. It just said, I got it back, and I was really pleased with this story. And the teacher just said, "It doesn't make any sense." That's what she'd written. "This doesn't make any sense." And I read that story back about 5 years later, because my mum used to keep all my exercise books, and it made sense to me. It still made sense. And I think I read it once a year, and I think it did make sense, but whatever. You can't win them all. Everybody's a critic. And then through secondary school, I was really bad at English. I went to a school, a really good secondary school. For people in America, your secondary school is like high school, I guess. You go there from 11 to 16. And I was really bad. I was really bad at English. I didn't get it. I didn't get metaphor. I remember our English teacher asked us to write a poem that had metaphor in it, and I think he said it has to have simile in it. Everybody did ones like the sea is like a raging dog or whatever, and really kind of majestic imagery. And I think I put snow is like melted butter, because I didn't get it. I didn't get why people wrote and what was the point. I didn't realise that you're trying to create something really meaningful and beautiful. And looking back, I think I actually really like that stupid simile, because I don't think snow is like melted butter at all. But I was clearly very free back then to just write anything, because I didn't get it. And I do sometimes think back to that, because you can get too stuck in all the rules and stuff. And I remember the teacher the next day, to this day I don't know if he'd forgotten that one of his pupils had written that or not, because he said, "Right, we're going to do some more similes today. Don't write something rubbish like snow is like melted butter." And I remember thinking, that's literally what I wrote. He must know that someone wrote that, and that's come from somewhere. Or maybe he didn't. Maybe he thought that he'd just made that up on the spot. But either way, I was really embarrassed, and I did really badly at English all through high school. Until something clicked. And I really remember this one day when it was the same English teacher. I'd had different English teachers in between, but for whatever reason this year I had the same English teacher that I had the first time. And he kept asking all sorts of questions about English and sentence structures and stuff, and I kept putting my hand up and I kept getting the answers right. And I don't know what changed. I don't know what changed inside me that made me suddenly really... I always liked English, but now I was actually pretty good at it. And I would write stories in my own time. And then when we had a piece of homework that said, right, I want you to write a story, I'd just dig one out from what I'd written, send it in. Cool. And then one of the ones I wrote, it was about an island where you send convicts, and it was surrounded by a big wall, and it was all about what goes on inside this island. And I think it was called Micre Island, M-I-C-R-E, which is an anagram of crime, which I thought was absolutely genius. But he just put an A at the end. No, it was about 20 pages long, no comments throughout the whole thing, just A. Cool. He hadn't read it. He'd probably read a few pages, but whatever. Again, at least he gave it an A. And I think when I was about 17 at college, no, I was probably about 16, I wrote what I considered to be like my first real good stab at almost a long, normal length novel. That was called Jinx, and it was about this symbol. Well, I should say about that crime island thing, I later watched a film called District 19, which is basically exactly what I'd written. So I was like both annoyed and like in awe, because I was like, okay, that's what it would have looked like if mine had ever got made into a film. The next one, Jinx, was about a symbol that this guy keeps seeing, and he's like obsessed with it, and he keeps getting followed by it and stuff. And then I think the number 23 came out, starring Jim Carrey, and again that was basically exactly the same premise, but with the number 23 rather than this symbol. But I think I learnt a lot from writing that one. I was very much in the vein of like, I'm just going to write a really compelling story. I didn't know about exposition or how to write good dialogue or any of that stuff. I just knew stories, and I wanted to write a good story, and that's what I tried to do. And then when I was 19, I wrote what I considered to be my first real novel. I would dig it out, but I've got a lot of books, but I will show you at some point. But that was about a guy who starts his own cult, basically, and the cult starts with good intentions and it slowly descends. And I think that was like a real life-changing one for me. That's definitely one that I think about when I think about all the books that I've written. And I guess it taught me about characters, it taught me a lot of what not to do. I put a lot of my own personal philosophy in it, which I later realised isn't really that good of an idea. I think a lot of starting writers do that. They put loads of their own, because they're writing something that's so important to them, they put all their own kind of opinions in it, and just loads of like personal thoughts and philosophies. And there was so much of that, because I'd recently read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, which is a great book. And I guess I sort of wanted to write that, and that's not a good book to read if you haven't read many books, which I really hadn't, and you're trying to become a novelist. I read that thinking that basically all books were like that, and they're really not. And if you haven't read it, go and read it, because it is good. But imagine reading it and thinking this is what all novels are, and then going and writing a novel, because it's packed full of philosophy, and I just assumed that that's what novels were. So I learnt a lot from that. Then I wrote one which was about, well, I wrote one about a family that kind of live in this big field, and there's some stuff, a big kind of conspiracy going on, and we'll come back to that. But then I wrote one about all these kind of gods and how they kind of influence our lives. Again, I learnt a lot from that. I wouldn't say I learned different stuff. That's me and you. Yeah. I didn't learn a lot of different stuff from writing that one, but I just learned the same stuff, but really honing it in now, until I got to what I thought was going to be the best novel I was ever going to write. And this is a novel that got me a literary agent and lost me a literary agent, which if you check out my other videos you'll see all about that. To me this was going to be the big one. I was about maybe 27.
Look, what is that?
That's a pop screen.
What do you do?
It makes it so you don't spit on the microphone and make lots of noise on the microphone. So anyway, I wrote this book that I thought was going to be the best book that I would ever write. I also learned that you might think that something's going to be the best thing you'll ever write, but then you might write something better, which is exactly what happened to me. I've got 2 kids, by the way. But yeah, I thought that this book was going to be the best thing I'd ever write. I thought this was going to be the book that would make me a successful published author, and it all went... I don't like to swear on this channel because I like teaching kids as well, but it all went bad. But then I wrote something better, and I wrote it in 4 months, and this other one took me 5 years, and it really made me realise sometimes you just gotta write the next one. Don't worry about what's happened. Just write. Just keep writing. Just write as much as you can, and just get it all out there. And with that book that I thought was going to be the best thing I'd ever write, I was shortlisted for 2 competitions. I had to speak my opening chapter in front of loads of people, and it really opened me up to loads of new people and new experiences, and it was amazing. And through all that journey, obviously I had 2 kids, and I got married, and I moved house, and I live in this really nice house. I'm not saying that to boast, but I'm just trying to get across that I feel really happy, I feel good about my writing, and it's taught me a lot about life, because I know that even if I ever lost this really nice house, I'd get over it and I'd make it work, and I'd just carry on, because that's basically what happened with that book. I thought everything was going to be amazing, it all went wrong, and then I just rolled with it. And that anytime something bad happens in my life, up to a limit of course, you just got to try and roll with it. So I've written maybe 5 or 6 novels. I'm starting a new one as we speak. I'm going to make lots of videos about that kind of journey, where I'm at with it, any struggles that I go through with it. There's obviously a heck of a lot more that I could say about my life, but I just wanted this video to be kind of about my writing journey. I've never been published traditionally. I've never self-published, apart from I did kind of self-publish a children's book just for the fun of it. I actually work for a publishing company, not kind of a traditional one, but more of a book printers and self-publishing company. And that's it. My camera's about to run out of battery, but thanks a lot for listening. Hopefully this taught you a little bit more about me and my journey, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Cheers.